Stop saving money like this, it's keeping you poor. Every day, millions of people wake up before the sun, battle through traffic, and grind through long hours at work, all fueled by the distant, glowing dream of true financial freedom. They toil away with the genuine belief that hard work alone will eventually lead them to a place where they no longer have to worry about the cost of living or the crushing weight of bills. Yet, despite this massive collective effort and the earnest desire for independence, the cold, hard reality is that 90% of people never actually achieve that dream. They find themselves stuck in a repetitive cycle, year after year, hoping that their circumstances will change without realizing that the path they are on is fundamentally designed to keep them exactly where they are. The reason for this pervasive failure isn't what most people think. It isn't because they aren't working hard enough, and it certainly isn't because they aren't smart enough. It is because they are playing a game they don't fully understand, following a set of outdated rules that were never meant to lead to long-term prosperity or personal sovereignty. Most people are taught from a very young age how to earn money. They are conditioned through schools and society to trade their energy, their education, and their precious hours for a paycheck. They learn how to be efficient employees, but they are rarely, if ever, taught the underlying mechanics of how money actually functions as a tool. While millions of individuals are experts at working for money, very few are ever taught how money actually works. This critical gap in financial literacy is the single greatest barrier to wealth. It keeps the masses focused on the paycheck while the elite focus on the systems that generate the paycheck in the first place. Because they lack this understanding, they spend decades of their lives trading time for money. They give away the most valuable, non-renewable resource they possess, their time, in exchange for currency that is constantly losing its value, effectively trading their life energy for a depreciating asset. The most dangerous aspect of this model is that when time stops, income often stops too. If you are reliant on your physical presence to generate your salary, you are essentially one illness, one accident, or one layoff away from financial ruin, because you have not built any mechanism that functions independently of your labor. The first major mistake that traps people is the habit of spending everything they earn. It is a subtle trap. As soon as a paycheck hits, the mental calculations for how to spend it begin, and before the month is over, the balance is back to near zero. Money comes in and flows right back out just as quickly as it arrived, like water through a sieve. This cycle ensures that even those with high incomes can remain functionally poor, living month to month with no financial buffer to speak of, effectively turning their labor into nothing but temporary consumption. Worse yet, many people increase their lifestyle every single time their income increases. They get a promotion or a raise, and instead of investing that extra capital, they upgrade their car, move to a more expensive apartment, or buy luxury goods they don't need to impress people they don't even like. This is the silent killer known as lifestyle inflation. It is the invisible force that prevents you from ever saving a meaningful surplus, because your expenses constantly chase your earnings, ensuring that the gap between your income and your costs never grows, and your freedom remains forever out of reach. It creates the illusion of wealth while keeping people trapped in a high-cost environment. They look successful on the outside because they have the right brand of watch or the right kind of commute, but underneath the surface, they are one missed paycheck away from a total financial collapse. The second mistake is relying only on saving. While saving money is a necessary habit for security, it is not a strategy for wealth creation. Many people hold their life savings in basic bank accounts, believing it is safe, while they are actually losing ground every single day. Inflation is the hidden tax that quietly destroys purchasing power every year. It is a slow, relentless erosion of your ability to buy goods and services, meaning that the money you worked so hard to put away is losing its ability to support you in the future, even as the number in your bank account stays the same. The money sitting still becomes worth less over time. If your money is not growing at a rate higher than the rate of inflation, you are technically losing money every single day that you keep it parked in a low-interest vehicle, effectively working for free while your capital sits idle. Financially free people, on the other hand, understand a completely different principle. They view money not as something to be hoarded in a bank, but as a seed that must be planted in fertile soil where it can grow, multiply, and provide a harvest for years to come. They don't just save money, they understand that saving is only the first step in a larger process. They recognize that if you store your value in a medium that degrades, you are not protecting your future, you are simply delaying your eventual inability to sustain yourself. Instead, they make their money work for them. They have shifted their mindset from being a worker who labors for dollars, to being an investor who allocates capital, ensuring that their money is constantly engaged in activities that increase its value or generate additional cash flow. Assets generate income without requiring constant labor from the owner. Whether it is a business that operates through systems, real estate that pays rent, or stocks that provide dividends, these assets function independently, providing a steady stream of capital that arrives whether the investor is awake or asleep. When you shift your focus to asset accumulation, time becomes an ally instead of an enemy. Your assets, if managed correctly, grow through compounding and appreciation, meaning that every year you hold them, they become more powerful, eventually reaching a point where they carry the burden of your life. The third mistake is ignoring the power of compound growth. People often underestimate the velocity of exponential progress, assuming that wealth is built through massive leaps, when in reality, it is built through small, consistent, and disciplined decisions that compound over long horizons. Small investments can become life-changing wealth if given enough time. This is the eighth wonder of the world, where your interest earns interest, and your capital builds upon itself, turning modest monthly contributions into massive sums that would seem impossible to achieve through salary alone. But this only works if you start early and stay consistent. Many people think they don't have enough to start investing, failing to realize that the most important factor in compounding is the time it is allowed to grow, not the initial amount you put in. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to start investing. They wait for the market to dip, for their debt to be gone, or for a sure thing to appear, constantly putting off the foundational work of wealth building in favor of a comfort that will never come. And that moment never comes. Life is inherently uncertain, and there will always be a reason to hesitate. The only perfect moment is the one you create by taking the first step, regardless of how small or imperfect it may feel at the time. The fourth mistake is neglecting financial education. Most people spend more time planning their next vacation than they do planning their financial future, operating under the assumption that they will just figure it out as they go along, which is a recipe for disaster. Knowledge is one of the highest return investments you can ever make. While stocks and real estate fluctuate, the knowledge you have about how to evaluate, buy, and manage assets is a skill that stays with you forever and can be applied across every single economic cycle. Skills create opportunities that money alone cannot buy. When you understand how to solve problems, how to negotiate, and how to create value, you gain an inherent leverage that allows you to generate wealth even when you have very little capital to start with. The wealthy rarely depend on a single income source. They know that having one point of failure is a massive vulnerability, so they diversify their earnings, ensuring that if one sector suffers, others are there to keep the machine running smoothly and securely. They build multiple streams of cash flow. By creating or investing in various engines of production, they create a safety net and a path to multiplication that allows them to scale their income far beyond the limitations of what one job or one paycheck can ever provide. Businesses, investments, and valuable skills all create leverage. Leverage is the key to escaping the time for money trap, because it allows you to accomplish more in less time, multiplying your output and, consequently, your potential for financial gain. Most people rely on one paycheck. This is the central vulnerability of the middle class. When that one source of income is threatened, the entire house of cards collapses, because they have built no secondary pillars to support their lifestyle or their future obligations. That creates enormous financial risk. If your employer cuts your hours, if the economy shifts, or if your industry becomes obsolete, your entire livelihood disappears. You are at the mercy of factors you cannot control because you are a passive recipient of income, not a creator of it. Financial freedom requires income that doesn't depend on your daily presence. This is the definition of passive income, the ability to have cash flow into your life without you having to trade an hour of your existence to get it, freeing you to choose how you spend your time. Assets continue working even while you sleep. While your competition is limited by the number of hours in a day, your assets are not. They are always active, always contributing, and always working to build your future, regardless of what you are doing in the present. That is how wealth compounds. It is not just about the money, it is about the system. When you move from a linear income model to an exponential asset model, you are building a legacy that can sustain you and your family for generations to come. One path leads to decades of financial stress. It is a path of constant anxiety, where you are always watching the clock and the calendar, worried about the next payment and terrified of the day you can no longer work to maintain the life you've built. The other leads toward freedom and choice. It is a path where you control your schedule, you choose your projects, and you are not bound by the necessity of a salary to fund your basic existence, giving you the ultimate luxury, the power to say no. Financial freedom is not about luxury. It is not about flashing gold or driving exotic cars to show off. Those are external signals that often lead people back to the start of the rat race, fueling the very consumption that keeps them from actual, lasting independence. It is about having control over your time. It is the ability to wake up in the morning and choose how you want to spend your hours, without the requirement of reporting to a boss or answering to the needs of someone else's company. It is about having options. When you are financially free, the world opens up. You can pursue your passions, spend time with loved ones, travel, or dedicate yourself to meaningful work that matters, rather than being shackled to a job for the sake of survival. Build assets. Build skills. Build income streams. These are the three pillars of true independence. If you focus on building these, you will eventually find yourself in a position where your money is your servant, rather than you being a servant to your money. Focus on long-term growth rather than short-term consumption. Resist the urge to impress others, and instead, invest in your own freedom. Every dollar you choose not to spend today is a brick in the foundation of the house of freedom you are building for tomorrow. Financial freedom is a journey of small decisions repeated consistently. It is the boring, unglamorous, day-to-day discipline of choosing your future self over your current desires, ensuring that you don't just survive, but truly thrive in the long run. The reason 90% never achieve financial freedom is simple: they work for money forever. They stay trapped in a cycle of trading their limited time for limited cash. The other 10% learn how to make money work for them, effectively trading their effort today for permanent freedom tomorrow.